Welcome to the back seat of the Bronco Sport. This is my very good friend Chris, who is 6'4", roughly.
Both machines offer two engine choices. Both machines have an engine you should skip, and here's a detailed comparison to show you why. In the Ford Bronco Sport, the standard engine is a 1.5-liter EcoBoost turbo with 181 horsepower and 190 pounds of torque. The up-level engine is a 2-liter EcoBoost turbo with 250 horsepower and 277 pounds of torque. This 2-liter EcoBoost from Ford significantly outperforms the maximum available horsepower from the up-level engine in the Crosstrek, with an advantage of 68 ponies and nearly 100 pound-feet of torque. On the more affordable Subaru Crosstrek, standard models get a 2-liter flat-4 boxer engine with 152 horsepower and 145 pounds of torque. The up-level engine choice is a 2.5-liter with 182 horsepower and 178 pounds of torque. This means the Subaru's larger engine roughly matches the output of the Bronco Sport's smaller engine. In terms of towing capacity, the Bronco Sport can pull 2,200 pounds, while the Crosstrek has a considerable advantage with its 3,500 pound towing capacity. Interestingly, both Crosstrek engines use the same amount of gas, but the bigger one gives you 30 more horsepower. That's a nearly 20% advantage in power output for just a fraction of a percent more of your gas dollars, literally. If you drive 25,000 kilometers a year and pay $1.50 for a liter of gas, it's less than $2 a month to feed the bigger engine, so just take the free horsepower. In the Bronco Sport, your engine choice has a bigger implication on your wallet. In the Crosstrek, the extra 30 horsepower from the up-level engine will cost you about $1.50 a month in gas. In the Bronco Sport, the extra 69 horsepower, and more importantly 87 pounds of torque from the bigger engine, will cost you an extra $40 a month based on our earlier math. It's $3,338 per year to run the 1.5-liter and $3,825 to feed the 2-liter. So that's about $480 per year more to run the bigger engine, or put another way, the Bronco Sport's 2-liter engine gives you 38% more horsepower, 46% more torque, and uses only 15% more of your gas dollars to do it. That's under $500 per year at the pumps. And so if you're after the best bang for your fuel buck, you can pretty much scratch the 1.5-liter engine from the list. With the Crosstrek, the annual fuel cost based on that same math comes in around $3,150, regardless of the engine you choose. So in all, driving a Crosstrek will save you roughly $200 to $700 per year in gas versus the Bronco Sport. But keep in mind that with two turbo engine options in the Ford and none in the Subaru, you can expect much more throttle response and smoothness at very low revs than the output numbers alone lead on. I think you'll find the Bronco Sport's base engine snappier and more responsive in around town driving than the comparable 2.5-liter in the Subaru, and if you go with that 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder instead, you've got a big power output advantage and very solid overall performance. Still, that Crosstrek can tow more, it's at least a little easier on fuel, and it costs less. So up on your split screen, it's the all-new for 2024 Subaru Crosstrek. This is the first model year of the all-new third-generation machine. My tester is the mid-level Onyx, priced at $34,000 Canadian and painted in sapphire blue pearl. It's built in Indiana. Some Crosstreks are built in Japan. We've also got the Ford Bronco Sport. We'll be using this Heritage Edition model with 1.5-liter engine for video duty, as well as a few others. This $600 color is called Hot Pepper Red Tinted Clear Coat, and pricing for this tester comes in from around $42,000 Canadian. So note the price step for the Bronco Sport. Even a fully loaded Crosstrek at $37,000 Canadian is still about $2,000 cheaper than a base model Bronco Sport, though both machines deliver all-wheel drive systems with driver selectable modes as standard. That's GOAT modes in the Bronco Sport and X mode in the Crosstrek. Despite their fairly different shapes and stances, the Crosstrek and Bronco Sport are quite similar in overall size. The most significant difference is length, with the Bronco Sport measuring 172.7 inches, or 4,387 millimeters, which is 3.7 inches or 94 millimeters shorter than the Crosstrek. For reference, the Honda HR-V is slightly longer than the Crosstrek, with the Mazda CX-30 being a bit shorter. And according to my research, the Volkswagen Tiguan is the closest SUV in terms of size to the Crosstrek, with less than an inch and a half or 38 millimeters separating the two in both length and width. Ground clearance varies depending on the model you choose. For the Crosstrek, it's typically 8.7 inches or 220 millimeters, but that increases to 9.25 inches or 235 millimeters if you opt for the more rugged wilderness version. In the Bronco Sport, ground clearance is just shy of 8 inches or 203 millimeters on the base, Big Bend, and Outer Banks models, and approaches 9 inches or 229 millimeters on the more rugged Bronco Sport Badlands, giving the Crosstrek a very slight advantage in this measurement for both its versions. By the way, I think shoppers will find the Bronco Sport Badlands offers a smoother off-road ride than the Crosstrek Wilderness, but be sure to try both out on your test drive. So how do these machines compare on space and volume? The Subaru Crosstrek has a cargo capacity of 564 liters or 19.9 cubic feet, with its rear seats flipped up for use. The Bronco Sport, on the other hand, offers significantly more space at 920 liters or 32.5 cubic feet. This means the Bronco Sport has approximately 63% more cargo space than the Crosstrek when comparing the seats up cargo capacity. When you fold those back seats down, the Crosstrek's cargo capacity increases to 1,549 liters, or 55.1 cubic feet if you like. The Bronco Sport still maintains its lead with a cargo capacity of 1,846 liters, or 65.2 cubic feet. So compared to the Crosstrek, the Bronco Sport gets a 19% advantage in seats down cargo capacity.
12-volt power outlet here, auxiliary lighting on this side, and when we press that, little LED lights up here and here, which can be aimed around, which is handy. Little hooks to keep your stuff secure. The folding divider shelf, which gives us kind of a two-tier ordeal here for storage, is so we can flip this over this way. We now have a top and a bottom, locked and locked. So that's locked in position there. We can see sticking out just a little bit. You want to have these legs angled this way, right out to kind of the corners of the bumper there, and that's going to give you that flat workspace, eating space, cooking space, gear setting up space, and so on.
For reference, the 2024 Honda HR-V has a cargo capacity of 691 liters or 24.4 cubic feet with the seats up, and 1,559 liters or 55.1 cubic feet with the seats down. So that's more than the Crosstrek but less than the Bronco Sport. The Mazda CX-30 makes it 572 liters or 20.2 cubic feet of cargo space with the seats up, and 1,280 liters or 45.2 cubic feet with the seats down. Amongst its competitors, it delivers one of the smaller cargo capacity measurements. The Kia Seltos provides 752 liters, or 26.6 cubic feet of cargo space with the seats up, and 1,778 liters, or 62.8 cubic feet with the seats down. So that's more than the Crosstrek and HR-V, but less than the Bronco Sport. If you're shopping primarily on cargo volume and found that to be a good lay of the competitive landscape, then be sure to connect with me on YouTube and leave a like. So what about interior space? Well, there's no surprise at which machine is the headroom leader here, and I asked my good pal Chris, the tallest Finlander I know, to help demonstrate.
And we can see, so up here, how the roof lifts, and that's partly for getting mountain bikes back there, but also helpful if you're a 6'4" guy. So I'm going to open this and just give the people a look. Yeah, so lots of headroom. You've still got a pretty good bit of headroom back there at your height. Your knees are not touching, but, we got some space. Can you show us how you fit in the front?
Yeah.
At 6'4"?
Sure can.
So, yeah, there's Chris at 6'4" in the front seat. And you can see you tilt your head up, your brim of your ass.
A little close, but not bad.
So, as we were saying, this is kind of a headroom champion, this thing. And there's the proof. You can fit in the, you're comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And you can see out of it
very well.
So, just how badly does the Bronco Sport smoke the Crosstrek on headroom? Front seat occupants have 1.7 inches or 43 millimeters more headroom in the Bronco Sport than the Subaru Crosstrek. That's a 4% advantage. In the rear seats, thanks to the Bronco Sport's raised rear roof, headroom grows to the most significant advantage in this matchup. Rear seat passengers get a full 3.7 inches or 94 millimeter advantage in headroom in the back. That's nearly 10% more than the Crosstrek. On legroom, it's a half-inch advantage for the Crosstrek in the front seats, and a half-inch advantage for the Bronco Sport in the rear seats, roughly evening out the equation. Still, if you've got tall passengers or kids who will grow into tall passengers soon, the Bronco Sport is pretty much a no-brainer. But which machine would I, an adult gentleman of simply average height, spend my dollars on? For me, it's very close, and that just proves how tightly matched these machines are as competitors. And a reminder, in this part of the video, I'm mostly putting the specs and figures aside, and giving you a more personal take after having driven these two machines for a combined 3,000 kilometers or so. So for me, it's the Crosstrek, and I will explain why. Both of these machines manage an excellent drive on the rough roads, back roads, and trails that I regularly test SUVs on. And in fact, both machines feel surprisingly more athletic at the tips of your fingers and toes than you might expect. These are two machines with a fun and encouraging dynamic built in, though to me, the Subaru's lighter and livelier feel at the controls just pushes that up a few more notches. For my needs, the 2.5-liter engine is plenty, though I would miss that sporty snap of the 2-liter EcoBoost. But the Crosstrek's cargo area is deeper, lower, and easier to access for the family dog. A strong consideration for me is Lupo here has just joined the fleet and is starting to learn car rides. The Crosstrek's lighting system inspired more confidence after dark, its brakes inspired more confidence during panic stops, and though the Bronco Sport's handy touches like the pop-out tailgate table and zippered rear seat pouches are calling my name, ultimately, the Crosstrek wins me over just slightly with its driving feel and after-dark performance. We'll be checking that out in another video soon, side by side with the all-new Hyundai Kona in a new night drive comparison feature I'm working on, so be sure to connect on YouTube, leave a like, comment where you're watching from, and subscribe so you don't miss that upload.
No power tailgate here, absolutely fine, you do not need it. Nice good action of those hydraulic struts there. Decent amount of room for our standard kit. I should point one thing out here. There were these cubbies. Did you see them?
No.
And I wonder, well, it's not going to hold it securely, but maybe that's what those are for. I guess we'll have to check the owner's manual, but that's not really my style.